It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Spent some time this morning on long-distance relationships that actually worked out. I was surprised at how many people have, dated somebody from across the country, and it worked out for them. You got to hear these coming up a little bit later on in the podcast. Here we go.
Bingo. How fun.
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo. Bingo.
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo.
Bingo! All right, if you got a great story, we're looking for you to call, but you can't call yet because you really don't know what we're looking for, and only the first person through gets on the radio with us. Kat this morning is looking for anyone listening who
just does not enjoy animals or pets. I'd have to link Derek into that. I don't mind.
What happened to him? Why can't he enjoy those?
He
pets?
just doesn't. He wasn't raised with indoor pets. They didn't have any. It was always like farm dogs or farm cats or whatever, never inside the house. So he always feels like gross and grimy. But this woman, they are now dubbing her the world's worst woman after venting online about the people that are not evacuating for Hurricane Helene because they don't want to leave their pets behind.
It's going to be a hot take, but literally imagine not evacuating because you can't take your pets. Oh my God. I don't even know what has to be going on in somebody's brain to be like, I'm going to stay here and die instead of leaving with my family because I have pets.
Maybe I don't understand why you couldn't take your pets with.
If you couldn't fit it in the boat or whatever. I mean, there was a way that you couldn't bring all 5 of your dogs with you. And you had to save your family, you'd, of course, save all the human people in your family.
I would, too, but I think I'd make room for the dog.
What if you can't? So that's what she's saying. She's seeing people not make that choice and then put their family members at risk. But then, the internet is turning on her.
First of all, it baffles me that you felt confident enough to actually post this. Secondly, so you are the type of person that most of us in this world despise. So you mean to tell me you, Miss Ma'am, do not treat your pet like it's a part of the family? You straight up said it is 2024. And the fact that there are still people like you in this world saying that people should leave their animals behind. Some of these animals are people's children because they couldn't actually have children.
So there you go. That's the argument today. World's worst woman out there.
You're looking for anyone listening who
does not enjoy animals, and maybe siding with the woman in the first clip.
All right, I'm going to go almost as opposite of that as I can. I'm looking for anyone listening who has had an embarrassing toilet clogging moment.
Oh, okay.
A guy that I know that works in radio also does mornings in a far, far away market, but he had posted the story online of he went in before his show started yesterday and had, when you come in Monday, sometimes you have some bad food over the weekend. You still got a little poops hangover, and you end up having just a massive, really full dump. And he had one of those, and it clogged the toilet, and everything overflowed. And by the time, and he didn't have time to fix it because all of a sudden he had to get on the air that morning. Gross. And he tried to plunge and it didn't work. And then his boss came in and then went into his studio and said, "What the hell's going on here?" And he's like, "Man, I'm really sorry. I didn't know." And then everybody started talking about it all day long because they had one bathroom and he clogged it up. And then they had to get the Roto-Rooter guy in there and stuff like that. So I'm looking for anyone listening who has had a pretty embarrassing toilet clogging story. And Kat's looking for anyone listening who
just doesn't dig animals or pets at all.
How's Elizabeth doing? Good. Which one do you fit? We're great too, but thanks.
I fit the toilet clogging.
Yeah, I was hoping to get one of these.
It takes a strong woman to call and admit this. If it were you, is it you that did this?
It is me.
Oh, please tell us about your gigantic dumps, Elizabeth.
Gross.
So we were taking a trip to Las Vegas over Valentine's Day. We got to the hotel. It was New York, I think floor 12 or 15. So first thing when I get there, I go to the bathroom and then I'm like, I clogged the toilet. Like, we'll just come back later.
Let it fester. Good idea.
Well, sometimes it just works itself out. I don't know.
No.
But then I come back and I'm drunk. And so I lay on the bed and my significant other's like, it's not working. So
gross.
I'm like in and out of like falling asleep. And so he calls
That's
the front
your
desk.
problem
and
now.
So, 2 people come up and they tried snaking it. They tried everything. They're like, we're just going to have to move you rooms.
Oh, my gosh.
The kicker is, so this was Valentine's Day over COVID.
Okay.
So everywhere needed a reservation, which of course we didn't have.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we'll comp you $200 in food and drinks. I'm like, great.
That's awesome. So because of your massive dump, you got a new room and $200 in free booze and food.
Absolutely. So I told my significant other when I brought him out to dinner, I was like, this is on me.
Are you one of those people that gets the travel doo-doos? You know, I used to travel with one of our coworkers. We'd go to like morning show boot camp, and she would be in the restroom for like an hour at the airports.
My body doesn't like traveling.
Okay.
And
It's a
so
thing.
It is, and it really messes with my my schedule.
Now, this is a great story, but I was really hoping that you were going to say I was laying on the bed and I got the bed spins and I had to throw up, and so I had to bury my face in the toilet that I had just used previously and couldn't flush.
Oh,
I was
gross.
really hoping it was going to go there, but I still give you like an A-. That's a great story.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing with us. Have a great morning.
Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Everybody!
So if you send us a note saying, hey, I'd like to be part of your OPP, that's other people's problems, something's going on in your life that maybe you want a little input on, just understand that most of the time Kat will go, hey, we got this. What do you think about this? Or if your name is Travis, she'll see your message and immediately go, oh, my God, we have to talk about this because the school board is going to get involved.
It's always best to have you on. We can always change your name if you need to, but it's nice because then we can kind of answer some of the questions that come in through text while we're talking to you.
I don't know if I have a very good grip on this one. So, hey, Travis, I appreciate you sparing some time for us this morning. Tell us about your wife and what's going on here, man.
My wife helped my teenage daughter set up a Facebook profile for couples dating at her school. And I'm honestly not sure how I feel about this. So the comments on these pages are horrible for kids to be seeing about one kid's too fat to be dating the other kid, or one has too many pimples, or one's mom is not actually dating her dad. You know what I mean? Like, just crazy things going on.
Why would she ever think that that would be okay?
I do not know. The boundaries she has sometimes just don't really make any sense. It kind of feels like she's feeding into the high school drama maybe she didn't get when she was younger.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
It just feels like she's trying to be, high school matchmaker all over again, and it's just crazy. And I don't know how I feel about it. And it can't be good for my kid either.
You got to tell your wife to just shut it down and erase it.
Yeah, kill that page.
Before it gets any worse.
Just knock it down. I don't know how she's even going to react to that. I don't want to come over as overbearing.
There's something deeper here. Like, I can't imagine ever doing this for my kid, Like, Kat, your son's going to be a teenager here in a second. Is he 13? No, he's 12. Could you imagine setting up a Facebook page for the couples at his school?
No, I do not think that any good will come from this. And then parents are going to hear about this if they haven't already. And I would say, like, after you get off the phone with us, call her and tell her that this is not a good idea.
It's linked back to us. It can't make us look good at all.
Exactly. Lane had texted, my wife is a little too involved with our daughter's life, too. She even got into some hot water when our daughter's friend told her mom that my wife said that their friend was too big for gymnastics.
Ooh.
Man, that stuff should just, as a mom of young girls, should never come out of your mouth. You are just contributing.
Kevin hit us with a text. He said, this is the same thing that happened to my best friend in high school. His dad died when he was a little kid, and his mom was obviously a little overbearing. She was nice, but it got awkward when we got to 16 or 17. She would show up on his dates to meet his date.
Oh.
And then that got to be too much. He started to rebel. They don't have a relationship right now.
Oh, man.
Like, that's the other extreme on that, right?
So I know that you think that that is my relationship with my son. too involved, which is not the case.
No, asking questions and having fun and conversations is one thing, but if you do start showing up when he starts dating, he starts showing up random. Oh, Liam!
What are you doing
and
here?
Ashley, I didn't know you guys were coming here tonight. Then that's the moment where you need to have a little pause. You guys ever been part of anything like this? And how far is too far?
1047 KCLD and Key of St. Cloud has free cash. Just be fast or you'll lose it all.
Good morning, Rachel. How you feeling?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. I love your excitement this morning when I said, hey, you're caller number 10. We got this from Rachel.
Holy cow.
Where did that even come from? Do we know where Holy Cow came from?
Well, I think Harry Carey made it famous.
Holy cow. Yeah, but he didn't, make it up. So where did it come from?
Is that your go-to reaction to anything that's good in your life, Rachel?
Pretty much. Holy cow.
I love it. All right. So
I'm going to make that my ringtone.
You're right. Anybody want this to download?
Holy cow.
We can make that available for you. Well, that'd be great. You're sitting in church and all of a sudden this goes off.
Holy cow.
Sounds like you're on the road, Rachel.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you starting your morning with us. We're going to give you an opportunity here to win up to $5,000. Kat's got an envelope in front of her. We're going to rip it open and see how much you're playing for. Normally, you would have 12 seconds to identify this dollar amount, but I'm willing to pump that up to 15 seconds. If you were listening right away when we got on the air this morning and you could tell us who everybody was texting me about who died last night.
Some Rose.
I'll take it. Pete Rose, yeah. Obviously a giant baseball fan, Rachel.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I am not. Holy cow.
Holy cow.
All right. Well, so you got 15 seconds now to identify this dollar amount. And just to recap how free money high-low works, you're going to give us your first guess between $104 and $5,000. After every one of your guesses, Kat's going to tell you whether your next guess should be higher or lower. And if you can rest on this dollar amount before the clock expires, then you keep all the money. Any questions for us before we get started?
No.
All right. Best of luck, Rachel. You have 15 seconds to figure out how much money we're playing for. Thanks to Key of St. Cloud and KCLD. Deep breath, clear mind, and we're ready to start whenever you are. Good luck.
1,300.
Higher.
1,400.
Higher.
1,700.
Higher.
2,100.
Higher.
2,500.
Higher.
2,900.
Lower.
2,750.
Lower.
2,600.
She had 2,600 at the buzzer. Unfortunately, that's not right. It is.
It was 2,706.
Oh, gosh.
I know.
What we're looking for today is anyone that's really made that long-distance relationship work. And if you've got any secrets for her, here's her dilemma.
Yeah, I just want to know if anybody has ever actually made long-distance work. I met this great guy who was visiting Minneapolis for the summer, and it ends up that he lives in Chicago, and that's only an hour flight for me, but I'm really not willing to uproot and get away from my family right now. But we just have such this, great connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I would really love it to work, but I don't know if anybody is actually able to make long distance, work in the long run.
The thing is, when you live with someone, it's a totally different game than when you're just visiting them on the weekends. And people make it work all the time. People have successful long-term relationships. When they get together, they're still fine. But do you feel like you're rushing it a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. We both have this great chemistry, and I think somebody could say we're rushing into things fast, but we're both going at a speed we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about moving in together, but I think in a perfect world we would, but I'm not willing to move, and his career is in Chicago, so,
Have fun for a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm guessing you're at that point in your life where you're thinking wife, babies, house, picket fence, that kind of stuff. Is that what I'm feeling here?
Yeah, I just wish that, I could do that someplace other than Chicago with him. You know what I mean? I just wish he lived here. That would be ideal. It's everything else is perfect except for the fact that he has roots in Chicago and I have roots here.
Okay, so now what I want to look for are people that have had a successful long-distance relationship and any advice you can give to Ashley on how to make this work, right? Obviously, if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, then you're into this guy. But are you willing to really make some sacrifices? It sounds like his career is pretty embedded. She's got people here. Can you really make that thing work? How the hell do you make a long-distance relationship work? I just played you the phone call we had from Ashley, who is, kind of right here, but the guy she met is in Chicago, and they're trying to make it work. She seems really into him. She seems committed, but we're just kind of looking for tips to really make something like that work.
So I was actually doing the promenade the other day, and one of the workers for the YMCA is dating a girl from Utah. And so she flew in for the promenade. I'm like, how do you guys make that work? She goes, actually, we have a really good time when I'm in town. And sometimes he'll come out with me on the weekends. He doesn't have custody of his kids. And it just works for them right now. So it's like, why mess with it? But Tristine said my husband met my husband online. He's from Belgium. And I am from Minnesota, obviously. We were in a long distance relationship for about 3 years while we worked through the immigration process. Now we're about to celebrate 10 years of wedded bliss. So that's really good. It's a good outcome for that one. Anaya says, Chicago isn't that far. It's so true. But what I always get worried about is when you finally get together, is it everything you'd hoped, Because you could have these amazing weekends of jam-packed fun and SEX, and then you get together and you're like, oh, God, you put your toilet paper on that way? The stuff gets real.
If you're that petty. Bring Mike onto the show real quick because you made it work, if I'm understanding. How long were you guys apart?
It was about 2 years. We had met, I had actually met her in Detroit. I was on a business trip. We hit it off real quick. We were kind of, at first it was just kind of a random meeting at a local club. And then, it just kind of spiraled into what we got now. But it was a little bit difficult, for the first 2 years because it was traveling back and forth. And there were some times that, we really wanted to meet up here, but it didn't happen. So we would have to go, a couple more weekends without seeing each other. But ultimately, it worked out fantastic.
So you're the success story. You're the success story of can a long distance relationship work?
Yeah, we're living here together. It's still, she still has the kind of, family ties in Detroit. So it's like, she sometimes, especially around holidays, misses, but we, try to make it work. We try to bounce back and forth, bring them here, go there 1 year. So, yeah.
If you met a guy at a bar and he gave you a job opportunity where you could make double the money, but you really didn't know much about it, would you take that leap? This is going on in one of our listeners' lives. We're going to bring him to the show at 6:35 Wednesday morning. You should be here for that, and you should stick around for the rest of the podcast. Here we go. My wife decided to order some chips and queso.
Nice.
Yeah. Right away. Bang. Great waiter.
I've never been in a bad mood around queso.
It's a great thing until your wife says, I'm going to go use the bathroom, and you dip your chip into queso and find, as you're chewing it, a fingernail.
You found a fingernail, or did you find maybe an onion?
Nope. I spit it out. I put it on my napkin. I examined it very, very closely. It was clearly a fingernail.
What kind of fingernail? Acrylic?
No. Just regular human-grown fingernail. Now, it could have been from a chimp, because I know we haven't fully evolved yet.
That's an option.
But I'm pretty sure it was from somebody in the kitchen. So, like a good husband, knowing how my wife enjoys her queso, I took that fingernail and I rolled it up in the napkin and I stuffed it in my pocket and I didn't tell her anything about it.
Now, I know in your man brain, you're like, what are the odds of us finding another one? But still, the contamination from what could be under a nail, you wipe, you catch a little, you don't wash your hands. Okay.
But it made me start thinking about the nasty stuff you found in your food. Some of our online comments. Got shards of metal in my fruit cocktail because the hotel I was at had an electric can opener that was shredding the lid as it came off.
That is so scary and very dangerous. The What's Inside My Body episode where that guy, the grill brush. I've always been an advocate of getting the rubber grill brush because some of the metal could go into your food.
For sure.
Puncture your inner intestines.
You ever eaten pork rinds?
No.
Like out of a gas station bag?
No.
Somebody had texted in, pulled a pork rind with fur on it out of the bag. Didn't eat pork rinds for a while after that, but went back to it.
Yeah.
So what's the nastiest thing you ever found in your food? Is it really just a hair?
Yeah, last Tuesday, went and stopped off at a place that I'll go to again. I'll go to it again because I like it. But I took my first big bite. Why is it always the first one? Because then it ruins the rest of the bowl. But then I felt it on the back of my tongue, and I was like, and I pull out this long blonde hair, and I'm a brunette. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'll keep going with it. But
Cora texted in the whole spine of a chicken in the bottom of a bucket.
God.
We complained, went back. They apologized and gave us 3 free meals.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst, though. You're going to give me a free meal to the place that I just ate at that had a spine?
People are okay with that, though.
I know. It'll usually get by. How's Amy feeling this morning?
I'm good.
Good. What'd you find? Any food?
Band-Aid.
Oh, my God.
That's the worst. Tell me it was pizza, because I had a friend that found a giant Band-Aid, like one of those that you use for a big cut, not like a finger cut, but like, let's say you cut your back, and they could use like the one that's the size of a playing card.
Yeah.
Found one of those in a pizza once. How big of a Band-Aid was it?
It was just a finger Band-Aid. It was in a sandwich, and it was in my mouth, the whole thing, and I was chewing it, and I spit it out because I was like, that's a weird texture for a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was like a used fit, you could tell like it was a fresh cut that they had put on. Like I threw up.
So
it was awful.
You could see the blood and everything on the inside of the Band-Aid?
Yeah, like you could tell that Band-Aid had recently been used to stop a cut from bleeding.
Oh, my God. It's either that or like you put a Band-Aid on to keep like something from oozing out. Now,
Amy, the ultimate question here is, have you ever eaten at that place again?
Nope.
You won't?
No, they offered me like just a bunch of free meals, and I'm like, I'm not stepping foot in this place again. No.
Well, you got to think I'm an odds girl, and odds of you finding another one are pretty slim. Or you could go to another location of the same.
Yeah, was it like
franchise.
A chain? Was it a franchise?
Yes.
Okay, and now we're all thinking about it.
I'm going to put you on hold. I need to know where it is.
Okay, yeah, tell us off the air where it was so we don't eat there either, okay?
Okay.
My wife and I got into an extended discussion, an argument this weekend, and I want to see really, because neither of us have the right answer here, but when you are in the city and you see one of those big cranes, like they're putting together a skyscraper or a multi-level building, and there's a crane on the ground, the guy running the crane, do they have to have any kind of college education? 2-year, 4-year, master's? Do they have to have anything? Now, I get that they have to be trained on it. But can that training come from... My wife went to the mattress with this, saying to run that big crane and to get that big I-beam 250 feet in the air, you have to have at least an associate's degree. You can't just get training on the job.
But did you do your JJ thing and ask why? I'd like to know why.
Because she said everybody's got to have a degree in something now.
That is not true.
Or you have to have some kind of a special... So like a CDL license for a trucker isn't necessarily a degree, but it's a license. And I'm of the impression that if you join a construction crew and you make your way through the ranks, that one day without maybe... you have to have on-the-site training. You probably have to get certified for safety and stuff like that. But she really, truly believes that you have to go to some school, whether it's a technical school or a 4-year college, to get the ability to run one of those big-ass cranes.
No, you do not.
I don't believe so.
No.
This is where I'm looking. And I said, I'm going to throw this out on the air. And she's like, go for it, because I'm right.
I think if you're going to be a foreman one day, the working your way up is a great way to have people's respect. But you should also take some courses as to how to manage things you should know about quotes and bookkeeping.
And there are engineers that spend tons of time in college to get an engineering degree, and you're planning out the structure and everything like that.
Apprenticeship is like a lot of people, and this country is built on people that just learned from the people before. You think back in the day, the people that built most of these high rises went to college? No, they didn't. They learned from either their dad that was in the industry or they just learned on site, and now they're professionals. So
I'm looking for you to chime in real quick. You can hit. A lot of people are texting in. No college degree is necessary. A CLC in Staples has a heavy equipment program. Okay, so right, all right. So that's a collegiately based program. Laura says you do not need any college to be a crane operator. You must take a class and pass to be certified for crane operation. Tina says no certification, no college degree needed. So
one thing I will say is it will not hurt to go to school. But if you feel like you are learning everything you can, it was kind of a moment of, should I continue on with radio school? Because I was learning everything at my internship/apprenticeship 6 months before I was learning it at school. But then I'm like, I'm this far in. I would like that piece of paper, I guess, to say that I completed college. But I don't think I needed to. I don't use anything that I learned there here today.
Everyone's got a take on this, right? And I, for sure, learn a trade. If that means going away for 9 months, 6 months, 2 years, 4 years, whatever the deal is. My wife and I are really firm believers in a college education because you learn to learn. You learn to problem solve. I mean, we both came from liberal arts colleges. And trust me, I understand how freaking meaningless some of these J-term classes are and some of these liberal arts classes are. But the premise behind it is like, hey, I took a J-term, which was Hollywood politics. We watched movies and discussed the political influence behind them, whether it was a race thing, whether it was a gender thing, whatever. But it teaches you how to learn, and young minds are pretty moldable. And I think a great skill to come out of college with is, how do you problem solve?
Yeah.
How do you learn? When you get that first job, do you know how to manage people? Do you know how to, kill a problem?
I do not think you need a college degree for that job, but I think that obviously you need to be a professional at that position.
Yeah, and I agree. The safety certification, bingo, probably got to have that. Your foreman's going to look at you and say, are you able to do this job? Are you able to do it safely?
I think your wife is turning into you where you just argue to argue. I think deep down she knew that she was
she's
wrong.
Not.
But she...
But I think she is too. But I just wanted to make sure that over 100,000 watts, I could actually say that I was right about something and my wife wasn't. How about this one? I don't think crane operators are listening to the station to settle your debate. I bet they are.
You would be surprised.
Listen, let's do this. If you're a heavy machine operator and you're actually listening to this dopey radio show, will you call now and back me up on this? I can't believe
people are very surprised when I tell them we have a large, older male audience that are of that working world that listen to us while they're building the exchange over there on 10 and 23.
Because they believe in the intelligence I spew. They're probably here for a lot of that. But I just wanted to say that I'm right. Anybody that knows my wife can just attest to the fact that I was finally right once.
She's not listening.
That's what this feels like. Yeah, she's a heavy crane operator, so she's not.